Good morning. We are on 9.6, the x-intercept, page 550. Now, before I start with this topic, I quickly want to revise what we know about this topic. When I look at this, we have a graph that represents a certain equation. And I can find this equation by saying that y equals mx plus c, y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient. Now the gradient is the rise over the run. And if I go to this point, or any point, and I go to another point, my rise will be plus 2, and my run will be plus 2. So the rise will be 2 over 2, which gives me 1. So m is 1, x, and c is my y-intercept, which is 2. So the equation is y equals x plus 2. In this function or this equation, this line represents all possible answers for x and for this equation, to make this equation true. Now I can use the equation, so I can say when x is 1, y is 3. When x is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3. When x is 3, y equals 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this equation gives me all possible answers for this equation. So the graph gives me all possible answers for this equation. A table just helps me to draw this graph. So that doesn't give you all the answers, but it gives you a guide to what it is. Now look what happens with my x and my y-intercept. At any graph, the y-intercept, that y-intercept is x is 0. Look there, when at that point, when y is 2, x is 0. And that will always happen. For all those points, x are equal to 0. On the x-intercept, when x is negative 2, y is 0. So it doesn't matter where I am on this line, y will always be 0. When x is 0, y is 2, that will be my y-intercept. My x-intercept is where y is 0. So where y is 0, x is negative 2. Let's quickly look at this example. So the x-intercept at any point of the graph is y is 0, and we already know that the y-intercept is where x is 0. So let's have a look. They say find the x-intercept by substituting y into the rule. So if I just have the rule y equals 3x plus 4, I will say that my x-intercept is where y is 0. And if I substitute 0 in there, I'm going to take 4 on this side. I'm going to take 4 on that side. 0 take away 4 is negative 4, plus 4 minus 4 cancels. I'm going to divide by 2. I'm going to divide by 2. X equals negative 2. And that's how I find the x-intercept. Let's go and have a look at how we will do this from the start. And I, again, is going to go a little bit further, and I'm actually going to do the question and then draw its graph to show you how easy this can be. Now, if we have a look at this, they say for this graph of these rules, find the x-intercept. So I will say to start off, x-intercept is where, that is where y equals 0, which means 0 equals 3x minus 6. And I'm going to use my algebra techniques that I did previously. So I'm going to say plus 6 on this side to get rid of it, plus 6 to get rid of it. This cancels. I'll have 3x equal 6. I can swap the two sides, which means 3x equals 6. I can now divide by 3 to get rid of 3, divide by 3, they cancel, so x equals 2. If I wanted to draw the graph of this, the easiest way would be to do the following. So here's my graph. I'll say my y-intercept. What is my y-intercept? My y-intercept is where x equals 0 And I know that is also my C value, which means y equals negative 6. So all I have to do is I say my y-intercept is at negative 6. My x-intercept is at positive 2, so x is positive 2. And all I need to do is draw the graph. There's my graph. Let's look at the next question. Y equals minus 2x. I'm just going to move this over. Y equals minus 2x plus 2. The same thing. I'm going to say, first of all, my x-intercept. X-intercept is where y equals 0. It means this equals 0. So 0 equals negative 2x plus 1. I'm going to use my algebra. Subtract 1 on both sides. And I'm also going to swap the sides in one chain. So now let's leave it. Plus 1, negative 1 cancelled. 0 take a 1 is negative 1, which equals negative 2x. This is multiplication, so to get rid of negative 2x, I'm going to divide by negative 2. I'm going to divide by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. So we'll have x. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that will give us a half. So x equals a half. The y-intercept is where x equals 0, which means that is the c value, and the c value is plus 1. Therefore, y equals 1, because that is where this thing equals 0, which means y equals plus 1. If I have to draw the graph of that, I'm just going to say my x-intercept is at a half, so x is at a half, y is at positive 1. I have 2 points. I only need 2 points to draw the line. A half and 1. And I have my graph of that point. Last example, which is exactly the same as the others. Find the x and y intercept and then sketch the graph of the rule. So I start off by first say my x-intercept will happen where y equals 0, which means if y equals 0, 0 equals 2x minus 8. I'm going to add 8 to get rid of 8 on this side. Add 8. They cancel. I will have then 0 plus 8 is 8 equals 2x. Divide by 2 to get rid of that, which means x equals 4. X equals 4. My y-intercept is where x is 0, or that is where this thing is 0. If that is 0, y equals negative 8, which is my c value. So y-intercept is y equals 8. Oh, sorry, negative 8. Negative 8. Draw the graph of that. There's my y and my x-axis. My y-intercept is at negative 8. My x-intercept is at 4. I have 2 points. I only need 2 points to draw my line. So from there to there. Bada bing, bada bang. Thank you.